Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm going to say something that sounds a little bit weird to say out loud, but I believe it to be pretty true at this point in time, and I'll explain why throughout the video. But in a year where we have a Battlefield game dropping that has a ton of hype going into it, and a Call of Duty title that's had a very mixed reception so far, Battlefield 6 may actually be one of the most helpful things to Call of Duty going forward. Battlefield 6 may actually help save Call of Duty in a sense. Now, before you start typing, Zach, what an absurd statement. What's going on here? What do you mean? That's ridiculous. Hear me out here. Everyone obviously is going to have this whole, FPS game war, if you will, similar to like console wars, Xbox versus PlayStation from way back when. You're going to have your diehard Battlefield fans, and that's fantastic. I hope they enjoy the game. You're going to have your diehard Call of Duty fans. That's fantastic. I hope they enjoy the game. You're going to have these two going against each other saying, oh, my game's better because this, my game's better because of that, my game's sold more, my game's got more players, whatever the case is, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, none of that matters. You know, play what you enjoy. Don't play what you don't enjoy. Play them both if you enjoy them both. Don't play either if you don't like either, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, this back and forth match between these two titles really only matters truly to the executives of EA and Activision and everything, right? Like, to the player base, it doesn't really matter all that much. What does matter is how these games actually are going to help each other get better and better. And ultimately, we as the players will come out on top for that. We'll get better games because of that. Call of Duty for years now has run unopposed. And what I mean by that is that it dominates the FPS genre. There are other more popular games out there across a variety of gaming genres, but Call of Duty is a household name. Every year it sells well, regardless of how good the quality of the product actually is. And it doesn't help when there's nothing to challenge it. Back in the day, the golden era of COD, it was always competing with new Battlefield titles. It was competing with new Halo titles. The FPS genre as a whole was booming with good competition, and that made all of those games adapt on the fly year over year to make better games. Oh, if Call of Duty did something really crazy one year and they got a huge spike in players, Battlefield, Halo, we're gonna have to respond and do something, equally as cool, equally as innovative to try and get players back there and sort of steal the spotlight a little bit, if you will. Then Call of Duty would have to respond, and they'd go back and forth. And that was good because that meant every single year was new, it was innovative, they were pushing for change, they were trying to make the most quality products they can. Problem is, when you have years and years and years of Call of Duty going unopposed, like what we've had recently, really I would say ever since MW 2019 and Warzone dropped, is COD gets complacent. You have former executives at their brother company Blizzard saying, COD's lazy. They don't have to try to get numbers because no one's gonna take players away. They might see drops in a player base because they're not thrilled with the product, but even then, a drop for Call of Duty is a floor that other games wish they could achieve. It's a ceiling for others that they'll never even see it so high, right? So Call of Duty going unopposed is not great for us as players because it means Call of Duty's not gonna work as hard as they possibly can necessarily to put out the best game they can. And we're already seeing this change things before either of these games even fully launch. Obviously, we had the Battlefield 6 beta. That went over insanely well for them, got so much hype going. And then we had the Black Ops 7 reveal, and that was kind of a disaster. The trailer got an insanely negative reaction. There was so much concern and backlash about decisions they were making, and part of it is the pressure that Battlefield 6 is already putting on Call of Duty. That public perception is huge. Even though those that are doing this online are still a minority player base for each title, the ultimate player base, the larger majority, is that offline, more casual player base. That vocal majority online is definitely a big chunk of players, still a noticeable chunk of players, and that pressure that Battlefield 6 has been applying absolutely, maybe in tandem with that bad reception of Black Ops 7, low pre-order numbers, is actually already sparking change. We've had Call of Duty in the past, few weeks, past month or so, do more reactionary things than we've really ever seen them do, quite frankly. Don't get me wrong, prior to a new COD game releasing, they always ramp up the communication, they always ramp up the marketing to make things look a little bit more flashy, a little bit more sparkly, if you will. They got to make their products look pretty, and so they're going to do more communicating, more announcements, more hype, more marketing. That happens every single year. This year's a little bit different because we're getting more specific things this year. We're getting more reactionary things, more responses out of them than we really ever have before. And that is a direct result of Battlefield 6 probably setting the example a little bit, being super interactive with their community. The devs going out of their way on their personal accounts to respond and engage about the game. Battlefield constantly putting out these community updates and being more transparent with stuff. we see this backlash for Call of Duty where carry forward gets adjusted a week after it was announced because of the community response. We see operator skins getting adjusted like in the Vault Edition for their cosmetic look and their visuals there because of community response. We're seeing more public posts from Treyarch and even some of the devs specifically detailing multiplayer stuff, trying to establish more transparency, more communication in a way that we typically don't have. And I fully believe this is because Battlefield 6 is applying some pressure. Now, you could say, okay, Battlefield has never really beat Call of Duty. It has its dedicated player base, but it's never been that true household name like COD has. The sales numbers that COD has have always exceeded it in some pretty drastic amounts in certain years, right? So how are they making this much of an impact? This is a different time, quite frankly. The sentiment for Battlefield may have never been higher than it is right now. The sentiment for Call of Duty maybe could have been lower back during like Infinite Warfare, maybe even like mid MW2, but this is pretty bad for COD, especially given the public reception for the game so far. So all of what's been done thus far, marketing, beta, all the updates that Battlefield has pushed out, has kind of actually had Call of Duty on the defensive for once, which usually is not their position, but it's an interesting change of pace. And quite frankly, at the end of the day, if Call of Duty is going to make changes based on community feedback, if they're actually going to listen to our voices, I don't care what causes them to do it, so long as they do it, right? But in this case, this is an effect of Battlefield actually saving Call of Duty in a sense in certain ways for us as players. You also have what they just announced a little bit ago, their Battle Royale in labs and everything, a free-to-play Battle Royale, and a lot of it so far has looked really, really interesting. That's putting pressure on Warzone as well. Warzone in specific has felt very complacent over the last little bit. Minimal updates, minimal changes season over season. It just has not been very fresh, very unique, or innovative in some time. A brand new Battle Royale on the market that is a true direct competitor. Like, yes, you have things like Fortnite out there, you have things like Apex. Those are Battle Royales, so they are a competitor, but they're very different style Battle Royales. There's a lot of similarities in the Battlefield Battle Royale and Warzone here. So that's going to be a new pressure that Warzone hasn't really felt. Again, pushing for more innovation. They have to nail things with their integrations. They can't leave things unattended or broken for long periods of time because they're running the risk of players jumping ship, which is ultimately going to push Warzone, ideally, hopefully, to be better. And we win because of that. So again, Battlefield putting pressure on COD, Battlefield helping COD do better, helps us as well. And it might not just even be a Black Ops 7 thing, of course. Like, there are things that they're already adjusting for Black Ops 7 and probably for Warzone as well. But then you're going to have Modern Warfare 4 dropping, a year into Battlefield's lifespan. And we could see a lot of reaction there as well, where, okay, if a lot of players enjoyed this one specific thing from Battlefield or this subset of features, Modern Warfare, Infinity Ward, they kind of look at that and like, okay, we can sort of do that in COD as well, piggybacking off of what's going well for each other. Again, results in better games for us as players. This isn't to say everyone ultimately is going to love both of these games. Some people might love one, hate the other. Some people might love one, just find the other one all right, and they play it from time to time. Some people might hate the decisions that both games go with, and if that's the case, I'm sorry, there's probably not many great FPS games out there for you right now. But at the end of the day, this is competition that is so long overdue in the FPS space, and competition that I am so excited for. Not to have this, oh, Battlefield is better, Call of Duty is better, but to have this, these two, iron sharpens iron, will make each other better games, and we get better games because of that. There isn't that complacency. There isn't that monotonous year over year production from COD, or several years potentially from Battlefield, where they can take it easy and just sort of take the easy route if they want. If COD does something awesome that gets a ton of players back, Battlefield's got to respond and do something awesome to bring those players back. And if they do that, then COD's got to respond again. And this back and forth is ultimately going to be very good for us. Hopefully. We'll see how things play out. There's a chance where, hey, one game launches and they just don't respond to things well. It's absolutely a possibility as well. I don't like looking at things like that. I'm more of a glass half full type of person here, a little bit more on the optimistic side, but I'm excited, quite frankly, for this year. Even though a lot of people don't really enjoy the futuristic hype in the sense of Black Ops 7, I'm personally excited for it just because I think that there being a Battlefield game that has this much hype going into it will push COD in directions that they have not had to go in some time, and make them a little bit uncomfortable. That should help out getting a better quality product at the end of the day. It's going to wrap things up for this video, though. If you guys enjoyed it, you want to help share it around, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to stay up to date with everything going on between Battlefield and Call of Duty, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. And I'll catch you later. Peace out.